Greetings, rise and shine, brethren. We are the World Global Reset Restoration Network family, comprised of 198 sovereign nations with over 7 billion sovereign principles, being of one mind, one heart, and one spirit, walking together under the divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I come to you as a voice in the wilderness to introduce to you a man. No, not just any man, but a man sent by Yah Allah to redeem mankind. Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson, the Adak Chief Justice of the Universal World Court, and who's also known as Yehoshua Mashiach, the Son of Man. The information that you will be receiving in this and other videos you won't get from anywhere else on the planet. Hear the many truths and fulfillment of the laws, judgments, and sentencings from our Creator, Father Yah, as well as the fulfillment of the true interpretation of the Holy Scriptures and books. Now, without further ado, Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson with his beloved host, Shelley Bowling.
United States, the reason I'm bringing this to you at this particular moment, because the discussions in which we need to have this particular night is still a discussion recognizing those on the planet who are classified as opportunists. These opportunists, again, I say, are persons who exploit circumstances to gain immediate advantage rather than being guided by consistent principles or plans. If you might understand and know that back in around 2017, there were problems in 2017 that arose. They arose because of what happened in 2015 and what happened in 2016, not because of what happened in 2017 that these problems would arise. They arrived way before then. They arrived in 2014 and 2015 and 2016. That's when the problems arrived. Yeah. Again, America, you must come to reality that your president now, your president, Donald J. Trump, did not bring those problems to you. Those problems were well there way before he entered your White House. Let's just say he inherited those problems. I know. Now you're going to say those problems were inherited before 2014, 2015, 2016. And I will agree with you. They were inherited before then. However, in 2008, one refused to sign the exact same paperwork that now is being signed by Donald J. Trump. You placed an individual in the White House that refused to sign that particular paperwork. 2008, yes, they would have been forgiven. They would have been found to be unknowledgeable of what they were refusing to sign. But I can tell you By 2015 and 2014, they knew exactly what they were not signing. Come on, people, stop it. Stop trying to give this excuse to one in whom you deem to be some would-be so-called melanated black man like yourself. No, he's not. I made a statement this Rise and Shine during the United Nations call. Just because he's in the same skin you in don't mean that he's kin. He cannot even relate. So anything that you're going through or have gone through, he cannot relate. Never will he be able to relate. It's too late for that. He was born to a white woman. Tripping. He lived in the house of a white woman and a white man. Tripping. He himself made a statement even prior to you putting him in the White House, that when he and his grandmother would walk down the streets, as they would see what they deemed to be an African-American male approaching them, that she would clench his hands real tight and she would pull him and walk, whereby they would cross to the other side of the street where they wouldn't have to pass this individual. I don't know if you found that motivational as an orientator, in which they deem him to be one of the greatest in the presidential would-be pool of those in whom became presidents. That wasn't a motivational speech for me. For the matter of fact, it was a slap in the face to me. How can you tell me that you can relate to me when you can't even not just only live on my side of town, which you never did, you can't even find yourself walking on the same side of the street as me, when we're going in opposite directions to pass one another. I can assure you that that fear still is upon him to this day. He still fears the black males, even though he's in somewhat of a skin that looks like him. He still fears them. I guarantee you he fears them. 1994, I noticed that he had the fear there. 2004, I noticed that that fear was still there. I realized that the closer he was to those that he deemed to be white men, he seemed to feel just a little comfortable, secured. You get what I'm saying to you? Yeah. No problem with him living in Martha's Vineyard. That's not new. There's no problem in him being able to live in a white community in D.C. There's no problem with him being able to live in a white community in would-be rural Alabama or rural Mississippi or rural Louisiana. You know why? That has always been his place in life. I'm not attacking him right now. What I'm doing is I'm bringing you to reality that right now, if you truly believe that you have a Savior that came by way of some melanated man that you put in the White House, I need you to understand that is far from the truth, and that is where you need to look up the definition of a true black man on the planet. He don't fit that definition. See, you cannot get black man out of saying that he had a black father and a white mother. That's not the definition of a true black man. And I'm pretty sure that right now, many of my brothers would tell you that even if he graduated from Harvard, Yale, that really doesn't impress us. See, most of us, we say we went to school on something that was known as hard knuckles, poke top on rhyme. School of Knox. As we graduated from that school. You think he can relate? I don't think so. Most of us, we know about street Bible. He knows nothing about the street Bible. And that I get tired of all the melanated brothers and sisters, and I do love you. You got to understand that. I don't have no choice but to love you. But I get tired of you. sending me messages trying to attack another melanated being when you already know that he himself, you can determine if he's one who is an opportunist or not. You can determine. So don't be trying to attack Brother Van Jones. I don't need you to attack Brother Van Jones just because he says it's not the racist white person we have to worry about, because that's not what he truly said. Listen what he said. He said it is not the racist white person that we have to worry about. It's the white liberals like Hillary Clinton and all of those who support the system whereby she believes in. That's what he said. But you have to understand, Hillary Clinton is Obama. She's a Barack Obama. She's a Joe Biden. All of them support the system whereby Hillary Clinton believes in. You want to know something? Everyone in what is known as the White House, the government, the United States government, every last one of them support the same system, liberal system, that Hillary Clinton supports. All of them. So don't try to attack Brother Van Jones about what he said. Listen to what he said so you'll understand what he truly said. What you should have been the one you should have been attacking was Barack Obama, who came with this so-called smooth rhetoric, which he was talking to people about his faith in America's moral direction, knowing that he said it is out of step with how the protesters feel. What do you mean? You don't know what a protester is, my brother. You even classified them once upon a time to be rioters, not protesters. When everybody was in Ferguson, Missouri, it wasn't Donald Trump that was in the White House. Let me remind you, I'm your ghost. So let me remind you who it was that was in the White House at that time, who did nothing. And you call those people rioters. You didn't call them protesters. They was rioters. Because you supported the same liberal would-be so-called system that Hillary Clinton supports. Let me help you out, brother. You were the one that classified the majority of the people in the United States of America as nothing more than terrorists. You put even those that were classified to be general religious believers, you placed them on the terrorist list. You put those that classified themselves as being patriots. And now you hear the word patriot coming out of the majority of the mouth of those that are still in the White House that classify themselves as liberal so-called leaders and conservative leaders. You hear them saying, we are patriots. But yet still you put patriot, the name patriot, and then you place patriot groups on a list of terrorists. That's what you did. Then you turn around and you put the Soviet group on there, not realizing we were not a Soviet group, we were a Soviet people. There's a difference. So you bypassed, you missed your chance to even put us in a position to be classified as terrorists because you placed the word Soviet group, Soviet citizens. That's what you placed as terrorists. We are neither one of those. We were Soviet principles. It was a difference. And I'm glad you're not in the White House hearing this now, because you was rushed to put that on there. And I know that's going to be the first thing that you're going to be talking to Joe Biden for him to put on his terrorist list. But let me help you out. It won't work. Because Joe Biden won't have no authority. Because the authority, that little bit which you had, no executive order, he is not going to get any, because right now he and your would-be called illegitimate president, both of them are running no government or no nation that is recognizable on this global planet. So keep it up with your smooth rhetoric, your swag, and what you bring to the black community. I'm not impressed with this. No, and I'm not angry with you, because I know you can make no difference. America America has no president is what they said June the 1st, 2020. It says as a nation, it has no president because the White House has went dark. The White House went dark in 2008, when they said they put a nigger in. That was when it went dark for all of the would-be so-called liberal white folks on the planet that Van Jones is now telling you about. The White House went dark. It went black. It went dark, total dark, when they put a nigger in the White House seat of the president in 2008. Let me help you out, my brother, so you can understand while you're out there giving that so-called smooth rhetoric where you got fooled half the would-be black community. Remember, in the word of the scripture, it says that when he comes, he might be able to fool the elect. I am one of the elect, and I was not fooled. I do believe there's a lot of the elects that are out there, and they were not fooled at that time. The elect, those are the ones that are the true children of the only God of the universe, Yah Allah. They are the true Hebrew Israelites, in which now has also been placed on your terrorist watch list. No, they didn't make themselves terrorists. You made them terrorists by finding those people who, just because they were in the skin, they wasn't kin, they wasn't true Hebrew Israelites, but because you were able to tell them to use the title of the Hebrew Israelites, you were able to put that particular title on your terrorist book and on your list. But they're not my brothers and sisters. I don't know any of them. Yeah, I will reject them to their face and ask them, what is the qualifications? What's the definition of a true Hebrew Israelite? Ask them. Because I can assure them, it has nothing to do with the way of life and what they're living. It has nothing to do with it. But it is a way of life. That's what Hebrew Israelites, that's the definition of a true Hebrew Israelite. You can't talk about it. You can't declare it. You don't even put it on the paper as your would-be so-called citizenship. It's a way of life. It's the way you live. It's the way you allow your blood to drip from your veins when you even find yourself giving up what is known as your ghost. It's a way of life. Yes, everyone will come to realize that the caucasian world of the Caucasians that come out of the Caucasian mountains that found themselves being able to exploit the whole entire universe at best was nothing more than that in which was classified to be wickedness and evil up on the land. Yes, you were written in the scriptures, you were written in the prophecy, you're there. But that doesn't mean that you was given permission to take over the world. This is the saddest time for the whole entire universe now, for the simple fact that we do have those men and women on the planet that are classified as leaders now, that just because they were part of the prophecy, they believed that they had permission to take over the universe. Just because they were written as part of the prophecy, just because you were part of the prophecy to become a president, the 35th president or the 36th president of the United States of America did not give you the permission to destroy the rest of the world. Just because you were part of the prophecy to become the 44th president of the world, of the United States, doesn't give you the ability to have the permission to destroy what was known as the sanctity of a marriage between a man and a woman. Just because you were the 44th president of the United States of America did not give you the permission to tell a man that he could marry another man, or to tell a woman that she can marry another woman. This was not a permission given to you. Just because you were part of the prophecy to finally believe that you were the first black president of the United States of America did not give you the permission to call the red man to your office and tell him that he was the initial Indian of the planet. Just because because you're classified to be some 45th President of the United States of America does not give you the permission to destroy everything that has already been destroyed 2 times over. Just because you're part of the prophecy to be named JB or Joe Biden of the so-called world, of the new world people, is not going to give you the permission to be able to take over the world and put the people right back in a position and under conditions and whereby now they're fighting to get out of. It doesn't give you the permission to do this. Yes, I understand. You're going to say that all the majority of the people over, to include the whole world, is going to be those that are going to place you in a position where you believe that this position is going to give you a permission to take over the whole entire world. From a U.S. standpoint of view, United Nations, we have to get the U.S. of A to recognize the fact that just because they become some so-called leader by giving some so-called majority vote of 323 million people does not give them the permission to destroy 7 billion people or more. It does not give them the permission to put up those things that they classify to be walls of nothing more than sanctioning nations, whereby they will prevent the nation from being able to come to the water hole to be able to at least draw their own water. They cannot be sanctioning people where they will think that they're given the permission to take all of the wholesome and healthy food and the nutritious food from those people of the universe. They will not be giving them the permission to be able to go out to third world countries in which they will deem them to be third world, where they will be able to snatch their children from mother's arm and raise her to be nothing more than a whore for them at some point in time. It does not give them the permission to be able to go and grab that same mother's young little boy from out of her arms and rush him off into an area where they will enclose him in a cage and hold him for some privileged moment of time where they can classify him as being nothing more than their subject or their so-called servant or their so-called slave. It does not give them the permission to do this such, just because they deem themselves to be somehow voted in by some so-called majority of the people in whom they themselves have lived around all their lives, and they themselves deem themselves to be of a family of 323 million people who still cannot recognize them. Does not give them the permission. Ordinarily, you would think that common sense would somehow play a part in the common laws of man, where he would at least be able to recognize those international laws where once you cross the line of internationality, where it's called an international based upon the initial life, and which will come from God, that you will recognize that you are not given permission to be able to control any man other than thyself. And knowing that you can't even control yourself. So even there's days when you go and find yourself trying to relieve yourself, you can't even control that. But you want to be able to control many lives. You want to be able to control men all over the planet. Yet still you can't even control yourself when leaving your house from with your wife. You can't control yourself long enough to be able to sustain, to get back to the house where your joy and your intimacy and your so-called satisfaction should be. But you can't even control that. But you want to control men all over the planet. You can't control your tongue when even speaking to the people in a manner where you have to be respectful and honored. You can't control that. But yet and still you want to be able to control billions of people. But again, I say, just because you have been given a position, or just because you have been given someone so-called would-be acceptance, does not give you the permission